Hi everyone, my name is Jeannie. I'm a grower at Colorado Breeders Depot. I'm here today to tell you about how different a hemp plant grows. Hemp is one of the few plants that have separate sex. There's a male and a female, kind of like us. There are other plants that do have that same trait, kiwi, ginkgo, willow, watermelon, and cucumbers. But most plants do not have separate sex of each plant, one plant being a female, one plant being a male. These plants are known as dioecious plants, and they create either only pollen or only seeds. Breeders that want to create feminized pollen need to create, breeders that create feminized pollen can create feminized seeds. They do this by starting with a female plant, either started from seed or from clone, and using a chemical, you spray that on there. You start at a couple of weeks under a 12-hour light, you spray the chemical. You want to saturate the chemical on the plant, being careful not to get it on the grow medium. Don't get any of that chemical that you're using in the grow medium or on yourself. So please make sure that you wear safety glasses, long sleeves, and gloves, because this chemical will stain you and can hurt your eyes especially. You continue spraying every other day with this chemical until you start to see pollen sacs. Now, if you want to use this as live pollen, you would put these live pollen plants that have your female pollen sacs on into your 12-hour flowering room now, and then that would automatically disperse into your flowering room. Otherwise, you can harvest your pollen. Usually that's in about 42 days that your pollen is going to be ready or mature to harvest. It's usually kind of a light colored yellow, and you can use a pollen tumbler to obtain your pollen. If you want to store pollen, make sure you put it in a airtight sealed container and put a silica bag in with that airtight sealed container and in a sub-freezer, and your pollen should last several years. If you want to take it out at some point to use the pollen, let that pollen defrost for about 4 hours before you use the pollen. How different does the plant grow depending on the product that you want to produce? It can be completely different. There's generally about 3 types of hemp that we have now. One is grain, the other fiber, and the other one could be considered a CBD, CBG strains. It's kind of the popular ones right now. Fiber plants will have more slender type of stalks with fewer leaves and fewer flowers. And they're going to be kind of stringy looking and what people used to kind of call ditchweed. Kind of looks like that. It is a fast growing plant. It requires less water than most other plants and has less nutritional needs. Usually you don't need to take out the males when you're going to grow for a fiber produced plant. The next one would be a grain hemp plant. It's going to have slightly broader leaves. It's going to require a little bit more nutrients and a little bit more water than the fiber type. And then the next type is a CBD, CBG hemp strain. That's going to require your most attention. A lot of people over the years have taken out the males to get more finer type of CBD or CBG. It seems like the way to go now is just to let it grow and not waste your funds on having people pull the males. You do need different equipment usually to help you harvest it and it's more preferable to have an indoor area to be able to harvest and dry and cure that type of plant. So it's going to be more costly to grow that type of hemp, the CBD, CBG. Talking about CBD, how do cannabinoids develop? They develop in the resin glands or the trichomes of the flowers and the leaves. There are other plants that also create these same kind of cannabinoids, but just like the male and female sex, they are limited. So there's things like black pepper that has those cannabinoids. But cannabis does have the highest concentration of cannabinoids of all the plants. When you look at the trichomes through a microscope, they kind of look like little mushrooms. So usually when you're looking at these trichomes and you're growing specifically for CBD or CBG high content, you want to look for those trichomes turning color. It's usually clear, cloudy, and then amber. We're seeing most of the time in the CBD, CBG type of plants that to get the highest cannabinoid results, you want to harvest about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So the best thing to do is kind of do a test trial and send your test to the lab, and that can tell you what your cannabinoids are registering at. We've generally seen the 6 to 7 week, which seems pretty early, but that is registering the highest CBD and CBG cannabinoids for us. Let's see. So cannabinoids are made from the cannabinoid acids. When exposed to heat, they lose the acid part and then they turn neutral. Decarbylation is followed and you receive results in the cannabinoid compounds such as CBD, CBG, and the THC, etc. Terpenes, which is another part that people look for when they're growing hemp in these more specific strain type of plants. Terpenes are the unique smell, taste, color. I like to think of it as more of your senses. So you're going to look at different size. You'll see different size leaves, like a broader leaf or a smaller leaf. The smell, there's so many different smells. There's the citrus smell, piney smell, the gassy smell. That's kind of the most popular type of smells. But that's all comes from the terpenes. And they can be identified in the hemp. The citrus smell, that's lemon or orange or grapefruit. That all comes from the terpenes. And I think that's it today. I appreciate you stopping by and listening, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Stay safe.